What is going on, everyone, and welcome to another episode of ToyShopFab. And on this video, we're giving the Escarado a little bit of a lift, just a little one. And we're going to make sure you can hear us coming down the trail. Yep, that's right. We're giving the old Escarado a little lift, right? Figured it's been low enough. Let's go up and bring it up just a couple more inches, and we're going to do that with what's in this box right here. And this is nothing but the finest, cheapest lift kit I could find on eBay. Now, it's not going to be the correct or 100% correct way, but it is going to work. We got couple of spacers for the rear coil springs. If you don't know, these Escalades are rear coils. They're not leaf springs. They have coil springs back there. So I bought a 3-inch block, put up underneath that coil spring. Again, not the correct way to do it, but it is going to work. Next, we have these guys right here. Now, if you don't know what these are, these go on the end of your torsion bars, and these are going to allow me to get 1 to 3 more inches of lift up front just by turning a bolt and adjusting this guy in our carrier. So we're going to get the stock ones out. We're going to get these replaced in there as well. And this kit was really cool because it came with the installation tool. That was awesome. Now I will put links to those in the description. So if this is something you guys, somebody wants to play around with, they can. Like I said, it was cheap. I probably spent less than 130 bucks maybe for all of that right there. Next, I have a Flow Monster straight through muffler that I also bought off eBay because, well, this truck is running. If you can't hear it. So we're gonna cut the factory muffler off, and I'm gonna put one of those guys on there and see what it does for our exhaust. Open her up a little bit, and then hopefully I can find somewhere around here where I can play with this truck just a little bit. This is a neat little trail I have next to my house. We got some woods over there, and I do come up and down this often, goofing off a little. So, but we're gonna get this truck. Well, let's see what it does right now. So, go ahead and put her in drive. Now, I chose this for those of you that don't know. This is a 2000 Cadillac Escalade I got on trade. It didn't run when I got it. So I did the right thing, got on Facebook Marketplace and bought the cheapest 4.8 I could find. And if you don't know, well, these Escalades usually come with a 6-liter. I wasn't getting a 6-liter for 250 bucks. I found a 4.8 for 250. Went ahead and dropped that in this truck, and I've been using the heck out of this thing. I've been playing with it on and out on our old little trails we have sitting here. I've been using it to move the trailers around in my yard. It's just been a good all-around vehicle, and another thing is it's all-wheel drive, so that has been a big help. But woof, see, we hit right there. Yep. We're gonna go ahead and give ourselves just a little bit more clearance back here though. Woo. This thing does really, really well coming up on these things. It's times like this makes me wish I had a camera guy. Let's see. It's kind of a tight fit in here. I wonder if this thing will make it. Ooh, getting close. Gonna scratch the paint. Let's see. Oh, already hit my mirror. let's get this thing in the shop and see about getting a lift on it. All right, we are in the shop. Now, before I get this thing jacked up in the air and on jack stands and start disassembling the thing, our new little lift kit for the front, or our torsion keys, claim to lift this truck 1 to 3 inches, or the Silverado that it's supposed to go to. It claims it will do 1 to 3 inches. Now I'm curious to see how much of that is, how much it will actually lift this truck. So before we take it apart, we're gonna get a quick measurement right here. And that is, I'm just gonna go from the ground up to the edge of our fender here, and you can see, what is that? 37 and 13, 14? Let's go 37 and 3/4, which is pretty darn close. How we go 1 to 3 inches is a pretty decent little lift. So if we're at 37, we got 38, 39, 40. So it should be anywhere between 40 and 41 if I was to put those keys in and max them all the way out, which is what I'm going to do. We're going to get as much clearance out of those as possible. We're going to see exactly how much of that 1 to 3 we get. Now, let me show you guys what we got in that little box. And these are kind of 2 separate kits I bought off eBay. Our first one is our torsion keys. Came with both these guys right here. Came with the tool to install them as well. And that kit came with extenders for our shocks. So this is really telling me that we are going to get quite a bit of little lift out of those things. And if we go off the center of that hole to that hole, it gets us roughly about a 2-inch lift just by these. So if we get at least that, then we're definitely going to need our shock extenders, which is awesome. Now the backs, this is what we got here. These are just little pucks, and these are going to go right there. You see where that bottom of that spring is at? We're just going to go ahead and probably disconnect a couple of these shocks here, like that guy there. Jack the frame up so we can get some separation between the coil springs and this axle. Drop that guy in between the spring and the axle there. Lower everything back down, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we can get the shocks bolted back up, because this kit doesn't come with shock extenders. But those are air shocks. I should get a little bit more out of them if I need, so I'm not too worried about it. Worst case scenario, well, I'll have to upgrade shocks. But for right now, my plan is just to get this thing in the air so we can get our torsion bar, our factory torsion keys out of this truck, slam in our new ones, put on some shock extenders, and get a quick measurement and see how high or how much lift those actually gave us. All right, truck's in the air. Co-pilot side's done already. We are over here on the pilot side. I'm going to show you guys everything I needed, or everything you're probably going to need to do this as well. And remember, always do your homework when doing stuff like this. This is the absolute cheapest way I found to do it, with parts I found on eBay. And they were meant for a Silverado, not an Escalade, which is what this truck is. So keep all that stuff in mind. Always do your homework. But anyways, truck's in the air. We got the wheel off already. Co-pilot side is done. We are here on the pilot side, and this is what you got to do. I like to do first things first. Grab yourself a paint marker or a piece of tape, a silver pen, something to use to mark our torsion bar. I just went down up on front, marked the center of our torsion bar, and marked the bottom of our control arm. Now, truthfully, it probably doesn't even matter which way that torsion bar sits in there, or the orientation of it. All I know is that that bar has lived in that direction possibly its entire life on this truck, and I just want to put it back where it came from. So grab a marker, mark it up, just kind of help you remember to put things back where they came from. 2, grab a floor jock, put it underneath your lower control arm to help take some of that weight off. Now the lower control arm probably won't go anywhere since it was already hanging, but just in case, it's always better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. So put a floor jack underneath there, help support that. Now, next is grab an 18mm impact socket, or a regular socket. Put it on the end of a ratchet or impact. See here. And we're going to get up underneath this truck. Back to where our factory torsion keys are at. You see over there, that side has been done. And here is our adjuster for our factory torsion key. I'm just going to go ahead and we're going to spin this guy all the way out. Cover your ears. Put that guy to the side because it's going to be hot. Next, here is our tool. Now this little guy's cool, and it came with the kit with our torsion keys. Remember, when you guys do something like this, especially if you're going to use an impact on the end of it, use some never sees there. It'll help protect the threads, because some of these cheaper style tools like this are a little bit of a softer metal, and these threads will go crossing, binding up, and then it'll just absolutely destroy this tool. So go ahead and put some never sees on there. It helps keep everything, it just helps make it last a little bit longer. But now, if you get on our factory key, now that that bolt is out, you're going to see we have this guy right here. It's an adjuster. Slides up in this little cross member there and gets held in by a couple of little grooves. But we need to get this out. And even though that bolt is all the way out, there is still some spring sprung left in this bar, and we need to get it out. And that's where this tool comes in. Now, there is a little tiny, there you go, this little guy right here on the top side of this cross member. It's hard for me to show you, but that little guy sits right inside. So let's see if I can find it. Yep, right there. So there is a little notch. I don't know if it'll even show it, but right above where this would all be, there's a little notch where that guy sits. And on our factory torsion key, there is another little notch right here. So go ahead and thread this up by hand. And it'll find its home. There we go. There, yep. It'll sit, it'll thread, and that little guy here goes right inside a little notch on our factory key, and that helps keep our tool in place. Grab this guy here happens to be a 25 millimeter, I believe. Yep, 25. So get that on the end of our impact. Okay. Now go ahead. Now we're going to go ahead and tighten it up just a little bit. So cover. And what that's going to do is lift our key off of this guy here, allowing us to pull it out. You can see it sits on those notches there. Once that's out, go ahead and loosen this guy up. Should be able to thread all the way out now. You see it's wanting to drop, removing all of our leftover spring or sprung torsion tension in our factory torsion bar. Go ahead and pop that guy out. Now you can see he wiggles around, and you should be able to either get a punch or a hammer, something on this back side here to knock your torsion bar that direction towards the front of the truck, just far enough to drop this guy out. Once that is done, let's see here. I wonder if, nope, we still have, so this has been in here for a while. There's probably a lot of dirt and mud and maybe a little bit of corrosion holding these pieces together. So give me a second. Let me knock these two apart and I'll be right back. All right, torsion key is out, torsion bar is knocked forward. Now here is a side-by-side comparison of our factory torsion key and our aftermarket one. Now you can see here, here's the one little spot where that tool slides into to help take the tension off this so you can pull our little key out. This one also has the same guy right there. Now, put them side by side. You can see there are some slight differences, but now if we take them, we'll line this guy up here and put these together to where our little holes line up. There we go. Now you're going to see there is a slight difference. Now in order to get this guy, right, this guy has to be, you have to tighten that bolt more to put him where that is, and just this alone is going to give you at least a 1-inch lift or more spring on your torsion bar, which is going to help give you that lift. And then you have all the rest of the adjustments. So between this and our bolt, that will give us our 1 to 3 inch lift. And depending on other modifications you might have to do in here, depending on if you have a spring or our bump stops for our control arms not to fall down too far, length of our shocks if we put in our extender or not, certain things like that. So there's where we get our lifts. Now, before we go and slide this guy back in, grab yourself some anti-seize. And what I'm going to do is, if you look up here at the front of our torsion bar, go ahead and apply some of that to there. It'll help keep some of our corrosion down. It'll help keep it from corroding anymore. That way, for future, if we need to take it out, everything will slide apart that much easier. Also, if you stand these guys up, factory one, when it sits in that little cross member, there's a little plate that this guy will sit there, right? So when you got torsion on it, it's up against our cross member there and turns this way. So every time we got a spring, this is rubbing in a little pocket. So grab yourself some Never Seize as well. Go ahead and apply it to the top of this guy. Apply some Never Seize inside here, to help keep it from corroding and allow our torsion bar to remove easily. You're going to want to add a little bit in here as well for our tool and our adjusting bolts. That way it's not going to sit there and try to friction weld itself together. So I'm going to go ahead and grab some Never Seize, get this torsion bar all coated with it, get our little key coated with it as well, and I'll be right back, show you guys how to install that. All right, torsion bar is set back up into place. Everything has got a nice thin coat of anti-seize on there, on our tool threads to keep from galling. Up inside our little pockets where our tool engages our new key. And I did coat some up there as well. So now we'll go ahead, put a wrench on this just to get it started. Now being aftermarket, this guy does sit a tad bit lower. And if I had any kind of hindsight whatsoever, I would have put the truck up a little bit higher. But we'll go ahead. There's enough there. I should be able to start it off by hand. Okay. See, is that enough? Yep. Okay. Cover. Now that we got that guy in there, we're going to go ahead and put our factory one back in place. Make sure it sits where it needs to. And our bolt. Go ahead. Oh, let's get our tool out of the way right now. So once that key is in place, go ahead and get our tool out of the way. Cool deal. All right, got our tool out. Let's go ahead and put this guy up in here. Get it started by hand. Grab our 18mm socket. Get that guy on the end of our impact. And like I said before, I'm getting every bit I can out of that key. So hopefully, that's gonna give me my 3 inches. All right, now that we got all that stuff installed in the back, we got both our torsion keys installed. Both of our torsion bars are put back into place. Everything's buttoned up. There's one more thing we need to do up here, and that, if I can find it, is we are going to want to remove our factory shock and install this guy right here. So 21 millimeter for our nut, 21 millimeter for the backside there, so that's 21 millimeter on both sides. Our new bracket is going to bolt in place just like this, just like you see there. And our nut would be a 22. Our bolt is a 21. So we're going to go ahead. Let me go ahead and get these guys out real quick, and I'll be right back. All right, shock extender has been installed, and this is what it looks like if done correctly. As you can see here, our factory shock, which would have hugged the bottom of our control arm here, or this bushing in our lower control arm, would have turned this way and come down. So all you do is undo it from right here, pick up the shock, turn it about 90 degrees, install our extender in the factory shock location, and use our new bolt to attach our shock to our shock extender. As you can see, the bolt comes in from the front here, and there is just enough room to clear our nut and our washer in the back. So everything clears. We got plenty of room around for everything. Everything is tight. And for the future, this is a lot easier to do before you tighten your torsion bar. So for me in the future, and for you, whoever is wanting to do this same thing, before you tighten that bolt back there on our torsion bar key, install this guy first. Your life will be a lot easier. So we got that installed. That should take care of our complete front end lift. So now let me go ahead, get the wheels on this thing, get the front end sat down on the ground, and I'll bring you right back, and we're going to see exactly how much of a lift we were able to achieve with this eBay kit. All right, Escarado is on the ground. Wheels are all bolted up. Floor jacks out from underneath it. Jack stands are out from underneath it as well. Now, when we started this little lift kit on the front end of this truck, I believe we started at 37 3/4. And I know I said I would like to be anywhere between 40 and 41. That's a pretty good little lift. Especially, I think it was under maybe around $60, $70 for the front of this with the tool. So let's see where we're at right now. Okay, we are on the ground. Come up to the middle, and if we look, we're at 40. So that is roughly 2 1/4 inches of lift we installed on this truck. I'll take it. That's nice. I like it. It'll allow us to put a little bit of a bigger tire underneath this thing. Now, driving it around for a little bit, it might settle a little bit. But as of right now, we're a little over 2 inches higher in the front, and that's awesome. Now, that kit did say 1 to 3 inches of lift. And I maxed out the bolts on those keys. And I'm really confident that we'd probably get the 3 inches out of this if I trimmed the bump stops of our upper control arms here. But I do not want to do that. For one, this is an all-wheel drive pickup. We got axles there. And I do not want to risk putting those axles in a bind. We might break something. So 2 inches is good for right now. Now in the future, if I found the brackets or maybe drop that front diff inch or so to line those front axles back up, we could get a little more lift out of the front. But for this cheap basic kit, 2 1/4 is awesome. I'll take it. And everything doesn't look like it's in a bind. So that's cool. Now what I'm going to do is I'll go ahead and get the truck out of here. We're going to get it flipped around, back it up, and let's see if we can get the same results out of the back. Escarado is in the air. You saw there on the video, we got the wheels off, went ahead and dismounted the bottoms of the shocks, dismounted the sway bar as well, and took a couple of bolts out of our e-brake line and our soft brake line to keep from snapping and breaking any of those, or putting, not putting too much stress on them. And I've got the pilot side puck already in its place, and here's what it looks like. You can see there, it just goes up underneath our factory coil spring, giving us basically a 2-inch lift. And actually, that I'm looking at that, it might be closer to 3. Probably a 3. Where's my tape measure? Thank you, sir. Yep. All right, let's see exactly. I didn't measure. Silly me. And because I was getting excited about this whole thing, I didn't even measure where it was at before. So we are looking at close to about 2 1/4. So 2 1/4 lift, which is great. That is actually going to match the lift we got on the front. So that worked out really, really well. And here is what we've got. You see, there's our shocks dismounted from the bottom of our axles. That sway bar I disconnected from the link because, well, the exhaust is covering that bolt. And on this side, I just took the sway bar from our frame. These are 18mm bolts. Bottoms of the shocks are 21mm bolts. Our little bolts that hold our brake lines on both the e-brake and our actual brake line are all 13mm. So now that we got Seth here, you can see the lower half of them.
Hey guys.
There you are. Go ahead and give him the camera. He's going to go ahead and video for me, show you kind of some of the steps I took to put this side in, because it doesn't really drop all the way down. And well, if you don't have a coil spring compressor, it could get a little tricky. So I'm going to show you what I did to help make things a little bit easier for me. Oh.
You?
Okay. So starts off with, let me grab my pry bar. Okay. And I got a ratchet strap. A ratchet strap? A ratchet strap. So come on over here. I'll show you the first one. You can see me you keep focused. Watch your step.
Steps watched.
Go that way. And lower the axle down a little bit. There we go. Okay. Now come on over here. You see the axle, our floor jack is not touching our axle. And this guy does. She's about bottomed out. Now there is a little bit of room at the top there where this can move around. But you can see here, that's about all the room we have, right? What is that, about a 1/2 inch or so? Oh, there we go. We got 1 inch now that it's sitting in its home. But we're going to need at least 3 inches to get up and over. So if you look right here, see this little tab?
Yeah.
This little tab here is going to keep that axle from falling any farther. So stay right there. We'll go ahead and lift our axle up just a little bit. Now you can see there's a gap opening between that tab and that lower arm.
Yeah.
Lower link. Now I just wanted it open just far enough where I can get in here with this little guy. Watch the camera. I'm going to come up now. And all I'm going to do is just lift that tab up. So now I can come down on the axle that much farther. Watch your fingers. All right. So we got a little bit more room. And now I can stand on this and actually come down and give myself all the room I need. Yeah. So, go ahead and get this guy off. Boom. I want him to stay. Okay. Get that guy off there. Get some of the dirt. put our spacer right here, and it fits. Like, it's a snug fit. So this thing actually fits a lot better than I thought. Put that guy in there, put our isolator back on. Now, let's go ahead. That guy where it goes. Boom. That guy there. Now, it's a little difficult. You still got some of the. There we go. You wouldn't be able to go down that far without bending this little tab up. You'd be fighting yourself. So remember, when you're doing that, just get it in there, bend the tab up, gives you room to get the bar. Or get your axle down far enough where you can put your little spacer on. There. Whew. And there we go. Reach up inside. Make sure that this, yep, there's a little pocket just like this here that the top sits in. Just want to make sure that that's sitting where it needs to be. And it does feel like everything is good. So now we got both our spacers on. Let's go ahead and jack this axle back into place. Watching all of our brake lines, shock mounts. There we go. Now the truck is up in the air, just barely floating off our jack stands. Go ahead and let's see. This is our sway bar. Get this guy up in there. Boom. Our lower shock bolts in place. Good. Get that guy started. This guy started. So these are the 18s. These are the 21s. Now we got this guy goes right here. There's our bracket bolt for our brake line. We got that guy started. Now, let's get this other guy into place. There we go. Boom. Boom. Now the ratchet strap I grabbed just in case we need to help squeeze the spring a little bit. And it didn't take a whole lot on that side, but this side actually went a lot better compared to that side. So maybe because I bent that end a little more. I'm not sure. But. That guy. And there's our little bracket for our e-brake cable, goes up here. Okay. Grab the tools, start tightening everything up. Give me that 18. $21. That's it. That's good. Got the Escarado outside, and that is a really big difference. We're just a couple inches makes getting that thing up. We now have enough room. We can probably go up a size or two with the tires, give it a little more ground clearance, right? We're not trying to go too crazy expensive on this. It's just a toy. It's just a mud truck, but definitely going to put the link to those two kits in the description. They both fit very well, both easy to install with just basic tools, and just enough to give you guys this vehicle a little more attitude. It's gonna be really cool. So now that we've got this thing a little bit of an altitude adjustment, right? We've gone up. Let's get this thing back in the shop, get that factory muffler cut off, and let's see what I can come up with to get this thing sounding a little meaner. All right. Escarado is back in the shop. You can see I already got the co-pilot side a little up in the air, and I've already cut the factory muffler out. Yep, I was going to set up and try to do that, but when a second I got this truck inside that shop, it was a total downpour. Everything got wet. It was raining hard, and I couldn't even hear myself think inside there, so I went ahead and just put some tunes on. Got up underneath the truck, cut the factory muffler out, took a couple measurements, got a couple of 2.5-inch stainless pipes cut from material I already have sitting in the back. But I know I did say I've got this muffler up here, and that's because I wasn't paying attention, and I only bought one. And I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time making a Y pipe to put two into one and go from one back in, you know what I'm saying? So I figured let's just make a couple 2.5-inch straight pipes. And well, after I got the muffler off, you know the rules. You're not allowed to start any. You can't. You have to start the vehicle, right? The second you cut mufflers off, you're going to do any kind of exhaust work whatsoever, you got to fire it up just in case the sound you hear is one you like. So we remember what this truck sounded before. Now we're going to hear what it sounds like now. not too bad, not overly rambunctious, right? It's not super high pitched. You hear the engine running, and I think by adding our two mid pipes in and connecting our tailpipe back together and moving that sound all the way to the back of the truck is going to make it sound even better. So I grabbed our two pieces of 2.5-inch stainless, climb up underneath this truck, get them set into place, get a couple of welds on there, and then I'll bring you guys in, show you what it looks like after it's been welded, and then maybe, if it's not too late, we'll take this thing out on a test drive, see how it sounds, you know, test out our suspension a little bit, and just see how this thing performs. Lift kit is done, exhaust is done. Definitely has a little more of a sound attitude, I would say, right? Sounds pretty darn decent. And all we did was take the muffler off. Grab a couple pieces of 2.5-inch exhaust tubing I had laying around already. So, and I believe you can buy those kits for less than $100 on eBay. If I remember correctly, that's where I paid for it. And I went back on my old notes, and the whole lift, the front, the torsion keys for our torsion bars that came with our shock extenders, and the tool to help install those torsion keys, and the 2-inch spacers for our rear coils in the back, all of that was less than $100. If I remember, I think it was like $98 for the entire, for all the pieces I used to give this thing the 2.5-inch lift that it has now. And then I gotta tell you, it looks pretty darn decent. Well worth it. Got a little more clearance, and yes, I decided to come out here and park it the same way I did when I started off this video, because I wanted to see if I could see any noticeable difference. The wheel well definitely shows a little bit more clearance in this area, and the rocker definitely looks like it has a lot more clearance. So totally stoked. Less than $100 to give this thing a lift. Probably less than $100 to change the exhaust on this thing. Kept all the original piping except for the muffler. Just add a couple pieces in there. So let's hop in this thing, fire it up. Let's take it up and down this little trail once, just for fun. All right. We were in the truck yesterday. I could start it, couldn't hear it. Today, you can hear a little bit, right? I like it because it has a little more of a rumble, and it's not droning you out of the truck. I like it. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like a good loud exhaust just like the next person, but if you're gonna drive something all the time, all right, reverse, gotta back up off this little bush I parked. Okay, we are up. Kinda like all-wheel drive, right? I know it's not 4-wheel drive, and the all-wheel drive splits it. I believe it's a 60-40 split. 60% of the power is in the rear, 40% is in the front, but still you get front and rear wheels turning, so it does help. And 2.5 inches makes a really big difference inside the vehicle. You definitely tell you're up higher. Definitely digging the sound. we are back in the shop, and I gotta tell you, I am very happy with how this little pickup truck turned out. You can definitely tell from the side here, we have got more lift for sure. Definitely sounds a lot better. And we were able to do this for really cheap, right? And that's all I wanted to do. And I get it, this is just a mud truck. I call it the Escarado. It's built from a 2000 Chevy Silverado front clipping doors and an 01 Escalade back half. It has very little of the Escalade furniture left inside. I've taken it all out and put in the cab on the other side of that truck. The cab that's meant for this frame right here. As you can see, all I see is a bed. And of course, a little bit of the frame there. Been piecing the truck together from mostly marketplace parts. We've got this thing here too. It just sits, like I said here. I mean, because of that doesn't bug me at all. This car's perfect for it. So later on that, again, a couple $100. We got this thing a little bit up in the air. We got it sounding better, and definitely cleared the room for maybe a size or two up on tires. I took out our little tape measure here, and we could go 33s for sure. 35s would definitely mean I was trimming something, but if you were that enthusiastic about it, you could put 35s on there. I don't know if I'd want to go 12.5 wides without either changing the wheels or putting some gnarly wheel spacers on it, but you can get a little bit of a bigger tire, give yourself a little bit more of a lift, and have more fun with this thing. Now this truck, it hasn't even really cost me much at all, except for the $250 I bought the engine for off marketplace, and then now roughly $200 for the materials I use for the exhaust and our $100 lift kit, which is awesome, by the way. I'm glad that I was able to do that. I'm glad it went on this truck without any problems. And I can show you guys something to do, or something cheap you can do with your vehicle if it's what you want it to do. Now you always got to make sure that it doesn't void any warranties or anything like that, or it is correct. I'll put the link to what I used in this thing there. The front kit, the keys and everything is actually a leveling kit for a Silverado. You know how you get them, and the front end's always a couple inches lower than the back. They do that for towing purposes and all that stuff, but this is a leveling kit. I paid $67 for it. Came with the tool to use to replace those torsion keys. Now the back, I'm not really sure. I don't remember what they were for or why. I think it was just maybe to correct some kind of maybe a sagging spring or something, or a weak spring. You throw a spacer in there, it brings it all back up. Or for towing purposes as well. Like you wanted to have your truck a little bit of a lift, but you needed it, up a little bit more in the back. You could do that as well. That way, when the back of the vehicle saw the tongue weight there, it doesn't look like you're pre-running down the street. That's possible too. But both those kits were less than $100, and we put them on this truck and used them to give ourselves a little bit more of a lift. So worked out great. Like I said, I'll put the link to those in the description. But I'm going to end this one off right here. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope this gives you a little bit of a motivation to get out there. It doesn't have to cost much, right? Anything you can do to your vehicle to make it better is always worth it. So, but thank you guys again for hanging out. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Hit that subscribe if you haven't already. Give a guy a thumbs up. And I'll catch you guys on the next one.